silence, love. Can we have your attention, please? We're going to get started here. Kobe.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for participating in this competition. Can you hear me? Yeah. What? Okay. Well, this was exhausting. It was, I think, a lot of work for all of the volunteers, but also, I can see on y'all's faces that it has been a really, tough competition. I think you all did a really great job. I made a joke, the same joke with like multiple people on different teams who, were naming specific people from these teams who they want to hire. And the same person would name the same people, so there were fights about, who's going to get what job offers. So you all did great. I want to start by thanking our main sponsor, Raytheon, because they've been supporting both Mid-Atlantic CCDC, but also National CCDC, and I think all regions, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they've been sponsoring all regions of CCDC for several years now. They've been a really big supporter of the competition. I know in the past they made it. They have had a very generous prize for first place teams. So I would like to introduce Byron Love for some remarks.
Guess who's back? Back again. Raytheon's back. Sound familiar? They're not enough. Eminem, 2002. Without me. YouTube something, I don't know. Again, my name is Byron Love. I am an associate director at Raytheon, and I manage cyber programs for Raytheon. And it's just a real pleasure to have the opportunity to speak to you again. It takes a lot of work to put something like this together, and it's very impressive what you've done here. Each team has worked extremely hard and deserves to be recognized for their accomplishments. So please join me in giving each other a round of applause. Outstanding work. It's inspiring. It's inspiring to know that we have some of the brightest young minds in the nation right here in this room participating in this competition. The cyber threat environment is dynamic, it's complex, and as you know, we simply don't have enough cyber professionals in the industry, not enough qualified and trained professionals to help secure our nation's critical infrastructures and commercial, military, government. There's a need right now, as you probably know, for 3.4 million cyber professionals, which is really kind of hard to wrap your head around. And programs like CCDC, in this tournament series, this is what we need to fill that pipeline with the critical talent that we need for the growing demand for cyber jobs. My favorite part of this event was meeting many of you last night in the career fair. That was so cool. As a program manager at Raytheon, my team and I have hired dozens and dozens of cyber analysts over the last year or so. And most of the cyber jobs don't require coding skills or programming. But in my experience, the cyber analysts who can code are the ones that are most in demand. They can solve the most difficult problems, like finding IOCs and terabytes of data. Everyone that I met last night was a coder, right? And they were proud of it. It was all in their resumes, with languages like R and C++, and obviously Python. Very, very, very impressive. And it was just a pleasure to be around all of you for the last couple of days. So I want to thank each of you for participating in this year's regional for the past couple of days. Most importantly, I want to thank you for pursuing a career, a degree in cyber, and having an interest in cyber and expanding your skills. The real world scenarios that you face will prepare you for future career opportunities. And again, just an excellent job. I can't wait to find out who the winners are today. In my opinion, you're all winners. And I will be at Nationals in Dallas, so I'm hoping to see, the winning team there as well. So thanks for everything. Now let's get on with the rest of the program. Back over to room.
Thank you, Byron. Before I move on, I also want to thank our partners at the National Cyber Watch Center. They're the ones who helped us, find this venue. They've been running MACDC since 18 years ago. This year we came in to help them, but they've also been organizing the conference that's going on at the same time. You're welcome to stop by and take a look at it tomorrow, or tonight. But I want to thank David and the rest of the National Cyber Watch team for helping us with this. All right, so we also have some other great sponsors. So NSA, United, Healing Tech, Palo Alto, GDIT, Tel, Richbot, CrowdStrike, Cisco, Fortra. Really thankful to all of you. In addition to sponsors, we had a lot of volunteers here. I don't have the final number, but across all the teams, so we had Rob, Jake, Michael. So Rob, Michael, Dwight, Jake, Nicholas, Simon, Marina, Mary, Amy, Steve, Aaron, Braylon, Joe, Colin, and Nadim on the gold and black team. We had Andrew, Austin, Becky, Carson, Chan, Jimmy, Max on the Inject team, and we're going to have some of them come onto the stage later to share some thoughts. On the IR team, we had Paul, Allison, Aaron, Kevin, Katie, Connie, Matt, Frank. On the executive panel, we had Jason, Joshua, Emily. Orange team was Matt, Ariel, and Cole. White team, James, Jared, and Justin. The IR team decided to stay anonymous, but or it's mysterious. But I think they have almost 20 red teamers. Yeah. So we're going to go through each of the different service categories, and I'll invite kind of the different leads responsible for those categories onto the stage. So first, I would like to start with Rob and Michael to talk a bit more about the services, the infrastructure, about how all of that looks like this year.
All right, so we're going to talk. We hired you guys, y'all, to fix what that last team had left us with. Y'all are fired. No, but in all seriousness, the services we gave you, not only we threw a lot at you this year. We threw cloud, on-prem, hyper-cloud. We threw broken systems as well as working systems. We threw so much new stuff your way, and you all took it in stride, and it was amazing. The only thing that I would say across the board that I would like to see more of is questions. Y'all just took things as it was, and just many of you, there was a lot of questions, but many of you just took it as it was and didn't ask questions, didn't try to see if there was any if something was supposed to be that way or not. And the white team is there, the gold team, the black team is there to answer those questions for you, and really if we smile at you or smirk at you like you're supposed to know this, then what we mean is like, hey, go research this or ask a better question, right? All of these services come with different requirements for the, and you'll hear this from the board later, but like different requirements for the business. Some of it, how many of you, just by a raise of hands, saw that all of the data for your other than the Red Sea, all of the data for your databases were not in the database, but in a SQL file on disk, ready to be imported. Why? So we did so many different things to these systems this year, and we're going to continue to innovate and change things and make it better and make it more realistic to like real companies and not just random box stood up. And so you did a great job at adapting to this year. We're going to make it even worse next year. So expect at qualifiers to see something like this, because all we're doing is shifting down as we innovate. Okay? Does that make sense? Don't come back till next year.
So thank you, Rob. Michael, did you want to add, or?
No, I don't have much to say. First off, you guys, everybody has gone through a lot the last, 2 days?
Has it been 2 days?
It's like 3 months. But anyway, I think that's everybody here, student-wise, has gone through something that the only time you'll ever see this is potentially in the real world, when it does matter. The interactions you've done in this event are hugely important, and these help to develop your soft skills. Interacting with the board, interacting with law enforcement, interacting with whomever, myself, Rob, the Inject team, whomever. These are all soft skills that build you up and give you an edge. You learn and know what to look for in the future and how to approach things. So that's good. I've been doing this since 2006. We've always innovated, as Rob said. We're going to continue because we want to make it as close to real world as possible. But it's still a game. So everybody, good work, no matter who goes to nationals. Everybody, good work, and thank you.
So next I would like to invite Becky, who was the lead of the Inject team. And I have some slides.
Thank you. All right. So, yeah. So good afternoon. Congratulations. It's been a long weekend. I know that you're all very tired and probably pretty sick of Inject. So statistically, we had 47 total Injects. We had 23 of them yesterday, 24 of them today. The total submission rate was 56%, which is pretty good. That means that we graded 212 Injects, but I mean, we graded 212, you submitted 212 Injects. The highest submission category was usually policies, documentation, most likely because your services were up. The submission rates for the individual team varied. So we had the lowest submission rate for one of the teams was 27.6%. The highest submission rate was 97.8%. So there was one team that submitted almost every single Inject that we put out there. The Inject varied in complexity. Some of them were technical, some of them were more administrative, documentation, everything. You guys did a great job. We were very impressed. I will say one of our team members had even mentioned when we were talking about one of the documentation ones, they said one of the teams they have an English major, not an IT major on their team, because they're doing really good. So a couple of things that I just wanted to mention. We did have a few challenges. So some of the things improved, maybe if you're returning next year. So following directions. We ask that you include your team number and the Inject number so many times, and that continued to be a challenge. We didn't really have the issue with the school name being included after, like halfway through the first day. So that was good, but, if we can't identify who you are, we can't give you points. And, if we can't identify which Inject, which we always did, but it was a challenge. We had to go back and, figure out which Inject are they submitting, and, we're going to deduct points for that. Paying attention to the details. So if we are asking for X, Y, and Z, and you only give us X, you're missing Y and Z. So points are going to be deducted. It's just like a grading rubric in full. If there's a project and if you're reading and you're saying, hey, I need to provide this and this, then you have to provide both, or it's not complete. Following through on the requested evidence, one of the things that we noticed was we would get submissions. We would see one screenshot where we know that you did the legwork. We know you did the hard part. You configured the system. You got it, pretty much working. But we were asking for, to show like maybe it working on one of the other boxes. So there was a couple different things like that. But you did the work. You just didn't supply all the evidence. So you could have gotten more points that way. The quality and the professionalism varied. So some of them were very, very good. Other ones you can tell that you just type something into a notepad and sent it in, hoping for the best. So if you wouldn't submit it to your boss, maybe rethink it, because you're not going to get anything for that. But yeah, that was pretty much it. We thought you did a great job. 212, you should be proud of yourself, and wonderful job.
So next up is Matt from Orange Team. Have a few things to say. You can get on stage.
I'm just gonna hop.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna take the mic. Okay.
And we'll have Iron next.
Okay, cool. All right, everybody can hear me? My name is Matt. I'm the lead of the Orange Team. Wanted to go over what our experience was interacting with all the teams. The point of the Orange Team is to simulate both the employees and customers of bulk shipping. One of the things that we really wanted to do within our interactions with all the teams was to have that soft skill interaction of, hey, I'm an employee, I've been working here, what's going on with the Wi-Fi? Why can't I connect? Or as a customer, sending over information saying like, hey, the shipping form doesn't look right, and then being able to have those back and forths of, hey, have you tried to clear your cache? Have you looked at the cookies? Like one time a URL was inputted on our part and a team corrected it. We were able to fix it and gave them points for that interaction. So one of the things that we did was throughout each day change the level of frustration, irritability of the Orange Team. So you may have seen we started putting on the pressure. We were like, hey, I have real work to get done, and my boss is complaining at me. This happens in the real world all the time. When the pressure is on and something needs to happen, people will start grinding your gears a little bit to try to make things happen. So I wanted to go over also what some of our requests were. You may have seen on day one, we had a request from Megacorp, big project that was required, a big order that came in. So we would follow up about that and have those conversations. So just overall, I wanted to give the feedback of everybody's professionalism and patience interacting with the Orange Team. We're one of the smaller teams. There was only 3 of us in total, 4 of the 8 teams. So we had to pretend to be employees, pretend to be customers, and also manage 8 interactions at the same time. So thumbs up to everybody on the Orange Team, all 2 of the other of us. And and also big kudos to all of you for interacting with the Orange Team and handling the best employees and customers in the shipping industry. Thank you, everyone.
thanks, Matt. And next we'll have Paul and Allison from the IR team.
It's a lot shorter.
Hold that.
you definitely have to
my fault, not their fault in reality, Rusty, I'll tell you.
He was writing it down.
Yeah, so we actually had an internal conversation amongst the IR team that I should not be describing. I don't know how that goes, but like, I got over to the red team room and I was looking at the thing that I had literally written like 30 seconds ago, and I was like, that could be a 14 or that could be a 19, don't really know. So I guess that's probably a data point for everybody, not just myself as a personal improvement thing. Make sure you write legibly if you're writing in handwriting as opposed to typing.
have a damn tablet.
There you go. That's another solution. So yeah.
And then, thank you guys. Like, the IR team, my mama heart's gonna come out here for a second. We watched you guys come in, and you grew as a team, and Team 7, rock on, guys. I think everybody needs to give them a good round of applause. You guys, you've definitely impressed us. And to come from different areas and come together, it really showed your adaptability and promise for outside work, because that is how it happens all the time, every single day, multiple times a day. So guys, we saw you, we learned from you. We did actually learn some things from you guys, whether they were good or bad. We're like, oh, don't do that. But yeah, we definitely look forward to seeing you guys in the future. I hope I'm welcome back next year. So great IR team. Thank you guys. It was awesome.
Once again, thank you, Paul and Allison. I think we had almost 8 team members grading Inject. And next, I would like to invite the board and to go up.
Yeah. Go forward.
Got my system.
All right, I'm just going to say a couple words and then I'll turn it over to Emily. So this has been an exciting experience. This was my first time here, first time as CEO, and everyone made it fantastic for me. So thanks to everyone involved. I do want to express the things each of your teams and each of you as individuals went through over the past 48 hours. Not only are they real world examples, you were hit with them so fast in a 48-hour time window that some people don't even see in 5 years of their career. So coming out of this experience, make sure, I want every single person in this room to know you have an edge over the other people entering the cybersecurity market. You've seen and encountered things that only experience can show you. So please join me, give yourselves all a round of applause, and thank you very much.
If you're a team captain, you hate me. That's okay. I'm not that much of a jackass except on stage, I promise. In all seriousness, if you have learned only a few things from these couple of days, besides how much you hate virtual machines, it is that soft skills are very, very important. Understanding your job and the limits of your job and all sorts of things about your job are very, very important. And that hating red team is just, oh, it's okay. No, I'm just kidding. In all seriousness, we are impressed as hell. And the one thing I want to say before Amelie goes into the very strong advice we have for you is that this is not a joke. Please put this on your resume. You are a participant in CCDC. This event in specific has a very high cachet in the industry. Okay? If you didn't go to the career fair because you have a job, that's fine. If you don't have a job and you didn't go, whack. Okay? Talk to the people here. I already introduced one person at least today to some people for a job. There's a lot of people around you that are very willing to talk to you about hiring you. All right? Good job.
So I was the strong, silent type in the room there. As you saw me typing away and not making eye contact, each one of us actually acted as kind of the boardroom, C-level archetype that you would probably encounter throughout your continuing career. So instead of correcting you, we're going to give you a little bit of our advice from stage time where we've been. Here we go. So, people in the military definitely know this term, bluff, bottom line up front. We've mentioned this each time you've come into us and you know, basically presenting your reports and whatnot. Be direct. Don't wander around. Get to the point. Be brief. That's also being direct, but also be short about it. Us executives don't have a lot of brain power. We need to basically process it very quickly. Be also very clear. Some of us are technical, some of us aren't. So if you're going to use lots of technical terms and things like that, try not to. Just try to relate that this is another human being that may have had a different upbringing, educational background, whatever that you may have. And be honest. We got reports of people basically lying to us, but from other teams. Don't do that. You will eventually be found out and called out on it. And you may most likely lose your job. Yeah.
It is okay to say, I don't know, but I will get back to you.
Yes. Again, key thing. Yes. Yes. And of course, be 3 to 4 sentences at most for that bottom line up front. That's the whole thing about an executive summary, is that it's a tear sheet that they can walk away with and feel somewhat good about something's going to happen. So, decisional action. My background is in decision science. So it's all about bringing data to actually generate an outcome. You need to provide stuff to your executive or anybody that's in that chain to basically help decide things. Make sure it provides value. Understand what they're asking. You've had both of them and myself asking for more detail to drill down, because we need that to be able to make a good decision. What to do, what to tell you to do, what to get you in the way of resources. Provide solutions and not problems. Don't keep on like, oh my God, the sky's falling, the dumpster fire is burning hotter. Don't do that. Okay, just try to provide some solutions. Show that you're actually providing, again, value back to the situation. If you do have asks of the board or an executive group, make sure you're very clear about it. Know what you want to ask. Understand that if I get this resource, I can immediately apply it to a solution or towards a solution. And then obviously understand the consequences. We asked you like what your team size is and what you had breakdowns and people doing things. Understand the consequences when you basically say you're not focusing on an ask. For us, we expressed as the executive board that we were really wanting to make sure we were able to like do commerce instead of chasing down the bad guy. Don't play whack-a-mole. Don't go after the cool things. Don't run to home. Do the things that the executive board asks. So, at the end here, the last question you got from us was from me. And it was basically asking you to think about the business processes you changed. This goes back to how you walked into the room and you were basically thrown into a dumpster fire. No documentation, no details, no inventory, no understanding that environment. In the real world, and I have many, many, many real world experiences, you're going to run into and you're going to basically try to ask for time and money and resources to basically get that inventory. You need to understand that value. That is an immense value. It's not sexy. It's not fun. Government organizations suffer from not wanting to do that because they chase the shiny ball. Private sector industry faces that issue, and they like to chase after the shiny ball. Academia the same way. International organizations do the same thing. They want the cool, sexy hotness that's there. But again, knowledge management, sharing information, communicating with your team. You know, if you get frog bounced out of the organization like Team 6 had their leader bounced, you want to make sure that there is a continuation of that knowledge transfer over to the next team. Again, going back to that communications, check for correctness. If you're not, again, talking about the numbers and stuff, if you're not passing the good information back and forth, it's just going to be snowballing and rolling down the hill to basically become a worse mess. But, you know, check again, don't overwhelm. You just make sure, again, goes back to that clear and concise, which I'm not being right now. Break down the work, do the basics. We asked, again, like what you guys were all doing, who you had assigned the different tasks and stuff. Make sure you have that clearly in there. And then we'll make your life easier, because then everyone knows what everyone's doing. There's no kind of chaos. We are not your enemies, nor are we your friends. So you understand that we have the wider view of business. Like you're the IT team, there may be another team that's doing something else, there may be another business sector. We have that kind of umbrella view. So don't feel like you're being kept in the closet when, you know, basically we're either direct or we're kind of asking questions that seem a little odd. We're here, we can give you resources. You know, I think we had a team that came in originally like 4 people, and you guys, 3, 4 people staffed up and whatnot, coming in and knowing like, hey, when we asked the question about us, the company growing, like we needed to know like how you're thinking about your resources, the level of efforts that you're putting into that. That's very important to communicate that. You know, we are the arbiters of business decisions and stuff. When you come up and say, hey, we did the policy, we made a policy or whatever, you need to run it by executives, because they're the ones who understand the legal ramifications and so forth about all that. They also know that if their ass gets audited, they're going to be the ones that are going to be basically fired. So
we're responsible for the policies that you write.
Yeah.
So we sign them, you don't.
Yeah. And they're not always assholes. We played the assholes pretty hard this one. There's a lot of really great executives. I used to be one of them at one point. I don't say I was great, I was an executive at one point. But their minds is with the business. So they're trying to protect the business and stuff. They're not trying to make friends with you or whatever. They're mainly worried about that. You know, don't take it personal. Questions and answers, just don't be afraid to ask questions. If you need something clarified or detailed, send an email to the board. Yes?
Question.
Yes?
Would it be beneficial for us to email you, like during competition? Is that something that?
That's what.
We had an email.
We had an email.
We were
going back and
you.
forth.
Why weren't you
It's
emailing
okay.
back?
At least in this competition, yes, like emailing the CEO or president of the company. Probably not. They may designate that to a VP or an SVP or some other type of exec, or even an executive assistant to kind of handle that. But the idea is establishing that chain of communication.
Mind you, it's the slowest email server on the Facebook.
Oh God, yeah. I tried sending email to you all like 3 or 4 times, and it just kept kind of timing out.
But it did sort of work.
Yeah, and also be prepared for directions and stuff you guys may not agree with. You know, executives are paid the big money because somehow, again, they know more than you, but obviously you can go away disgruntled, just don't show it in the room. There's a lot of gaps and sighs and stuff when we said things. You know, don't let that show in a room. Be poised, be collected. You know, don't argue. Obviously, if you started arguing with execs, your time there is shorter than, you know, a split second. Take it as advice. Yeah, you know, they probably be there longer than you as well, but, you know, it's okay to kind of like, you know, maybe second guess it, but don't make it be there. And, you know, they don't know everything either. And you don't know everything, so work through a compromise on that. Finally, parting words. It was an absolute friggin' pleasure to meet all of you and work with all of you. It was great. I wish you the best. We all wish you the best.
Absolutely.
We try to make this as realistic possible. Like I said, I've been in the boardroom. Go ahead. Question?
Yeah. You mentioned that it's important not to argue with execs.
Louder. Speak up.
You mentioned that it's important not to argue with the exec.
Yeah.
But what would be the difference between arguing and offering perhaps an alternative? Because although
your words.
How you use them?
Since we're not the
Hi. I understand that the decision you've come to is this one. However, there are some alternatives. May I lay out some alternatives in front of you so that we may show you the options?
And present your case in such a way that it's just factual.
These are the facts. This is what we're seeing. This is the outcome we're predicting. Here are some proposals as you see.
And an executive should always know that when you go, as a non-executive, go, that's your choice. That's fine. Can I get that in writing? They should probably reconsider.
But that's an important point. If an executive or someone in leadership says, and after you've spelled it out, and they still go with their decision, you've got to be okay with that. That is on them, right?
Disagree and commit.
I'm sorry?
Disagree and commit.
And document.
And document, yes. It's the cover your ass situation at that point. You've shared it, you've documented it. It's moved on to where that's their liability.
As per our conversation, your decision is this. I just want to make sure I understand it properly. Can you verify that and validate that this is the decision you decided? That's mean.
It's mean. It seems like being an asshole again, but you know, it's one of those to cover your ass in a good way.
This is a non-exec writing the exec.
Yeah. And like I said, you think this is the environment. It's just one step along the way. And every organization is different. Be adaptable, be flexible. That's the whole thing about this career. That's what makes it amazing, because there's so many different avenues and paths you can follow here. And yeah, you know, I'm sorry we probably got some of you exasperated, blood pressure raised, a couple tears. You probably want to punch some of us. You know, it's just one step in the journey here. It's cool. This is a game right now, but at least you'll understand what those feelings feel like and how you dealt with them. And that's one step along the way. So there's many more to go. And again, this is us if you wanted to reach us. So
we're proud of you.
We're really proud of you.
100%. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask the red team to start coming on up as we get them ready. Two things. One, even if you disagree with the executive or the manager or whatever, it's still your job to execute it, whatever their decision is. You can save your butt, or you can go home and make your resume, but you still got to execute. That's still your job. The other thing is, this event, mostly the captains interacting with the board. And the nice thing about this board is they put their emails up there. Please reach out to them and ask them questions. If you were not a team captain, talk to them. It's totally okay to ask a lot of questions about what happened, and then ask your team captain to debrief you on what happened in those board meetings, because a lot of you weren't part of that as part of the event. So go take advantage of that. Don't let it just be one part of your team that gets this experience. Over to the red team.
Fantastic. Wonderful. For those who don't know me, my name is Rusty Bauer, and I was a red team captain for this weekend. Before we really get started on this, what the fuck do you want? I will emphasize what has been said, I think, twice or three times already. Leadership is stateless. This is what I've learned in my career. They have no concept of before and after the 30 minutes that you get on their calendar. So present them clear, concise evidence and data, a recommendation and decision, and then execute. It has been said 3 times now, so hopefully you all have internalized
Then
it.
they forget what you were.
Yeah, and then they don't care. You may meet with them monthly, they do not remember. Another point here is like, yes, this is a super compressed game. At the end of the day, like, stay calm and collected. For most of us, like screwing up or having the website hacked or something, no one is going to die. There are a few people that will go into jobs where maybe someone will die. We can talk offline about that. Yes, Rob? Yeah, potentially. I mean, like
airline.
Worst case, to crash a plane, whatever. Yeah. I watch Fight Club statistics, so I mean, at the end of the day, like, take a deep breath. Everything is going to be fine. The website will come back eventually. You'll pay, Deloitte to go fix it or do it. How many people were using the scoreboard as their monitoring system? Yeah, you can all raise your hands. It's okay. How many of you noticed on day 2 it didn't really make sense?
Okay.
You're welcome. Good. Yeah. Josh came to us and he's like, I don't like that. So we fixed it. I did that as the scoring engine author, not as the red team, but maybe both.
Are you switching flags?
No, this is my preamble. And before I get started, I have a theory that happiness, like energy, cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. And we had a great So because Roman hasn't given me my picture-in-picture, I'm gonna hang out with you guys watching this. So, I mean, we appreciated the banners. We did. We went right by them, I think. So it was fine. I did it. How many of you got my B-movie script? B-movie 2, I got a couple of responses. One was you're smelly. But thank you, team, for loving my B-movie script. Please don't leave your private keys available for us to find. Thankfully, this one was encrypted, but next time. Websites got all messed up. We'll get there. We'll get there. There are many ways into a system. If you kick us out of one, we will get in another. So yes, check your website. How many of you took snapshots of your Proxmox box? How many of you validated the snapshots were there throughout the day? How many of you reverted to those snapshots and then suddenly saw new traffic? Yeah, me too. We also deleted some of your backups at the end of the day and your snapshots. We had a good time on Proxmox. Lot of web issues. I think the board probably noticed this as well. Websites were having just a... we also liked your reports. I don't think we modified this one, but we appreciated it. We just like to keep an eye on what's going on. I don't know why you renamed Node to Mode, but we love it. Yeah, Rob mentioned all your databases were also on one database server, so we deleted it. But it does keep costs down. Keep backups and stuff in case it goes away. Oh, what's the stupid thing that does AI art generation? Yeah. So Sean on the red team made Rusty Cyber Insurance. I think I called every one of you. All of you declined it, except one team who was going to run it by the board, and I don't know if they actually did it. Good work. So it was a cold call about cyber insurance, but given the situation, maybe you want to ask about it and see if you can get some money investing. I believe it was for a low cost of literally 5 bananas. There was a lot. We were having a good time. So congratulations to those who arrested us. I wish I could say that was my first time in handcuffs. We don't talk about that. But yes, I did say it. So Bananas and I got arrested. Bananas got arrested twice. The worst part is he was trying to get arrested all weekend, and we were a little disappointed it took so long. For those, how many knew the core DNS server is 172.16.053? Cool. How many of you saw a bunch of traffic going to 052? Yeah, that was me. It wasn't DNS. The problem with taking down the leader of the red team is you get repercussions. Actions have consequences. Free Rusty and Bananas. Rusty is coming. Hacking is not a crime. And so, at the end of the day, it's our favorite point. At this point, it was after lunch, and it's our favorite time of the day. It's time to burn the whole fucker to the ground. All of the hard work that Rob and the team put in, we just set on fire. Those of you who got in the big conference call with me, we were having a good time. Just block all the traffic. Shut it down. The problem with the firewall box is if you touched a file rebooted, Integrity errors, they never came back. How many of you saw the goose? Sean was loving the goose. Oh, damn, I duplicated the screenshot. Shame on me. A lot of Neancat, if you wanted to watch. We had Floppy Bird if you wanted to play. We had a lot of shells that die at the end of the day. So this is like multiple pages scrolling of all the shells we were losing as boxes were catching on fire. This was the last shot I took at the scoreboard. There was a lot of red, and I really have to zoom out to get how many freaking services were in there. We had a great time. So that is it. And with that, I will open it up to some questions. Unfortunately, the Windows team died. And by that, I mean they all had to go home. But I have Firewall, I have Linux, and I have Rusty. If you have a few questions, I don't want to take forever, but I'll take a few, and then we'll hang out with everyone offline if you want to chat more.
Big kid boys. Stand up, speak up.
I had issues with the USB. It was things to read only. I did not copy anything on it.
That.
Only my computer, so I don't know if that was.
The question was about a USB that became read-only. That is a great question. I don't have a good answer for it, but that is also very funny. Lecture.
Were you guys able to get into the PanOS, or was that not exactly?
I don't even think we looked at PanOS because we were, no, the firewall team did not touch PanOS. It was not out of scope, but they weren't running much, and I'll not look at Rob for a moment because I know they were. No, I don't think we really messed with those. The Chromebooks were pretty much off the list. We didn't touch them most part.
My LibreOffice crash, I read that.
No, that's LibreOffice, baby. Background. How in the world did you have default passwords set on? We were in very quickly, like minute zero, implants, everything else. I think we got the root password in like 3 minutes.
That was priority number one, was Proxmox. That sounds great.
Yeah, so there's a few probably golden things for us. It was like firewalls, Proxmox. And if we get in those, we can control everything. So those for us were the most important. And so those for you should be the most important. So we had some persistence in the Proxmox for like reverts and stuff. Things came back. But yeah, that one was super important.
I think the Proxmox near the end, we had a couple. I think a bunch of our machines were shut down or something.
Stand up, speak up.
Oh yes, we tried to change the Proxmox password and then. We take you guys out, which is not a smart idea because I don't know if you change something and they did not do it again. But
your firewall was there.
Your firewall was, so Proxmox rebooted and it all died. Yeah, like boot was missing. That was our plan. We just didn't get around rebooting it, I guess. But like I think most of us RMRF boot, and then.
Depending on the time of day, you could have shut it down to try to kick us out and given us shells back that we had lost earlier, and then automation kicked in and just destroyed it, because at the end of the day, that's what happened.
Question? Yes.
You guys have disabled the TTY interface from our SSH shells?
Probably.
Possible.
Disabling TTY. It sounds like right.
In other words, they did so much stuff to you, they literally can't remember all.
Yeah. You should have seen screenshots of all of our sessions. We had to keep zooming out and zooming out to get them all on one screen, and eventually we just gave up because we would still have to scroll.
Yeah.
Because all of those checkboxes and X's is more than one thing, and the scale gets crazy.
Were any of the front-end HTML recoverable, or once they turn to the green Power Rangers, that's it?
Did you have backups? Then I think there's your answer.
Yeah, so backups are important there. I think most of the things, if we really defaced it, most of them should have been recoverable. I think they probably just moved index files. One other thing, oh, I had a thought in this case. Anyway, it'll come to me in a moment.
Did you guys end up forcing any non-default passwords?
We didn't, no, I don't think.
We didn't need to.
We didn't brute force anything. Yeah, that's true. This is my question. So there was like 3 boxes we found. There's like fun and EDR and something else that I think you all didn't have access to because it was pub key, and I think it got fixed today. How many of you tried to exploit those via the web shop, like via the website? Okay, just us, because that's how we got it. So when you didn't have access via pub key, we also didn't have access. So when we investigated your web apps and found vulnerabilities in there, leveraged those into access on the system, that's how we were able to play there before you all. So there are more than one ways to enter a system.
But I think really quick on one of the things you said earlier about how one of the things that was said earlier about how Proxmox and firewalls were like really important to us, should have been really important to you. The biggest data point I have from the firewall side is that on halfway through day 2, we probably shouldn't be seeing a lot of default creds on all the firewalls on multiple teams. So that was kind of just one data point. The other thing was there was a lot of tools that were provided for you, especially on the FTDs. It had a whole bunch of IDS, IPS, a whole bunch of other capabilities that could have been enabled. It was all registered. It was all licensed. There was an enable button. And we didn't see any team actually click the enable button. So that was like, look for the tools that you're given and use them.
Follow-up question to that, would it even matter if we did enable it, or?
Yes. Yeah. A lot of our connections back to us were not the most stealthy, and so tools like that eat bad connections for breakfast, and so you would have had a lot of output and made our lives very difficult.
There would have been many more arrests.
I'm not saying we couldn't have turned it off again down the road, but it would have been work to do, and we didn't have to do the work.
We are lazy. That is true.
Yes.
Yes. I saw another hand float around here a moment ago. Yes. No, we just went on the CLI.
Yeah, I believe we logged into the front end and SSH of all of the Proxmoxes at one point. So I don't know what to tell you. It worked for us.
Worked on my machine.
Yep.
Going once, going twice.
Yeah, I just have one final question. Did you guys start with like our default grid password, or did you just find that on the
We find it, baby. We start with nothing. We're given IP ranges, and we have to go find stuff, figure out where interesting stuff is, and how to get it.
Yeah. So
in other words, this was realistic.
Very, very fast and very realistic. Recon is compressed in 10 minutes.
How much time do we have to figure out?
Yeah, it's like 3-5 minutes before we're automating and deploying things.
Yeah, so that was the biggest thing is for us, it was finding creds and then automating, but the scale still hurt. So it hurt all of you, probably more than us, but it did still hurt us. So it's not a question of securing, like how much time did we have to secure all of it? It's how much could you secure in the amount of time that you had. So it's not an all or nothing. You can go, what's important in my network? You have a packet. You can determine the firewalls, the Proxmox. That's the most important things to us, and go right there. And then you can figure out the rest afterwards. It doesn't have to be keep red team entirely out, or else we're in a bad shape.
Yeah. Sure.
Stand up, speak up. Soft skills. Thank you.
How much of the stuff you do is automated?
These days, most of it. I mean, this is 200 boxes. Like, we cannot do artisanal, goat-fed, free range hacking. Like, it has to be automated. Otherwise, we can't keep up. So over the last couple of years, Rob has lovingly added more boxes to the competition. We have had to scale alongside it. So for every additional team that's added, it's 40 new hosts. So like, it is actually a bear for us to manage all of it, just from a scale perspective.
pre-baked?
There's no pre-bakes.
No. We did this in real time. Because we only have like 3 to 5 minutes before you get it, what can we do to like get rid of your system where you just like limit it after you get it?
Default password.
Yeah, default passwords. I think at the end of today, before everything caught fire, probably a third of the hosts were susceptible to some sort of default password. So like, that is not only the OS level, that's the application level, that is any sort of API or access into the box in some capacity. I know when I competed as a blue teamer, we cared very deeply about the OS level and forgot web apps for the most part, which is a mistake on our part. Turns out they're scored. Who knew? So there's what you want to do is get the machine in a healthy state. Like take a snapshot, have that to revert back to, so you're not reverting back to something susceptible. So like don't kill one shell and pop us out and alert us that we've lost a shell. Find all of them, kill them all at once, and then take an image of it. So that is the effective way to do it.
Especially because we need to use automation, you can likely find us in multiple places because we didn't put that there ourselves. We had a script to do it.
Yeah.
So you can go and find, oh, we found this on one box. Let's look at everything else and try to find the same thing, because you will likely find it in more than one place.
Yeah. All right. One more.
What's pre-baked?
What's pre-baked? Where the boxes are pre-configured with goodies for us. Oh, there is our goodies. I'll say the other goodies for us is like things NFS being exposed and other inadvertent things. I think there was a game server with some interesting fun stuff on it. So there's misconfigurations that you need to fix throughout the competition. But pre-bake is like, here is my agent. It is deployed alongside. But we just, we're just really quick on the keyboard. Cool. All right, that is all the time I'll take here. All of you are welcome to see us after, talk offline. But like, we're all approachable. If you need anything, like, please reach out. This is what we're here for. We're here for you to learn. Yeah. Thank you all. We just
I just pointed to that one. I know. Sorry. No.
All right, so that was the last.
I do have one. Okay. Sorry. So one real quick thing: did any of you actually play the mind test game? Did any of you see the module in it that had the exact?
What did it have?
So inside mind test, which is a Minecraft free version, you could go inside the game, and there was like houses and all kinds of fun stuff to see. But inside of Minecraft, my son taught me that there are all these commands you can do, like fly and all this stuff. And I said, oh, cool, let me add to that. So it was just exec command, and it would run as this one.
So, at last, we're going to move on to awards. I'm going to try a better job of, building some sense, like I did with qualifiers. But we're going to go all the way down from 7th place, starting from 3rd place. Please use these stairs to go onto the stage. And, we'll give you your award. Once again, all of you did a great job, just being here at regionals, being, the top 8 out of almost 26 schools that participated is a really big achievement. All right, so let's get to it. So, like I said earlier, one of the teams unfortunately couldn't participate. So we ended up with 7 eligible competing teams. We did have 8 teams participate. They consisted of essentially alternates and students from teams who couldn't make from those teams, but still come. And they participate alongside you, but unfortunately they're not eligible to win. All right, so in 7th place, it's George Mason University. And if you guys would like to get up, don't come to the stage, but just stand up so we know where you are.
Oh, 3rd place.
Woo!
Didn't do it. I'm not touching it. I'm literally not touching it.
Yeah, I believe you. No?
All right. In 6th place is to Messiah University. So, please get up. So, Messiah was actually the team who I messaged on Thursday evening and asked if they would be willing to take one of the spots. And they came, even though you're guys Pennsylvania, right? All right, so, at the very last minute.
So 0 prep in the game.
All right, in 5th place, we have Virginia Tech. About their team that pretty much most of their teams, they only have 6 people for this. I think this competition coincided with another event that your team was doing, so they only had 6 people. So, really big achievements. So next place is Capital Tech. They they aren't eligible. They could have won. All right. We're going to go. This is not just the Capital Tech team. There's also in 4th place is Rutgers University. And I think I looked it up, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're the first team from New Jersey to go on to a regional. So. All right. So starting with the team, if you if you're at 3rd place, please use the stairs to come up onto the stage. So for review, the 3rd and 2nd place, there was actually a tie. And if you look in the rules, the tiebreaker is the top Inject score, and there was a really big difference between these 2 teams. So drum roll. In place, we have Pennsylvania State University. And all right.
Where are we looking at? All of us. We might angle you badly. All right, go say CCDC. All right, good. Thank you very much.
All right, so as soon as we reveal the 2nd place, you guys know the 1st place. So 2nd place team, once again, will advance to the wildcard round, which will take place in, I think, less than a week, I think April 5th. So your information will be sent to nationals, and nationals will follow up with instructions on how to participate in the wildcard round. But so there are only 9 regions. So if you do win the wildcard round, you'll advance to nationals as, one of the 10th team and have the same chance to win nationals. All right. So in second place, it's the Liberty University.
Congratulations.
We all sit on stage.
I think that's cheating.
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
All right, and finally, we would like to welcome to the stage the winners of the 18th Annual Mid-Atlantic Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition, University of Virginia. And so in addition to the glass trophy that you get to keep, the MACDC trophy, this trophy I think is almost 2 decades old. It has the name of every single university and every single year that has been awarded. And so you only get to keep that big trophy for a year, and next year we'll ask for it back. And you can take that.
Yeah, get the big. Congratulations. All right. You're looking good. Great. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That way.
We're tired, man. We're tired.
Great. So before we go, once again, I would like to thank all the sponsors, all of our partners, all of our volunteers, all of you. If you qualify, I would love to see you again next year.
Big hands for Roman and big hands for Rob.
So one last thing I'll say is that, Red Team, some of the other, a lot of them are volunteers, a lot of the members of the, Orange, Black, executive team, they're planning to stay behind and talk to some of you guys. And so if you want to ask them questions, it's a great opportunity. I think the conference is still going. Yeah, so there's still going to be some things to do. If you, another big thing is make sure you write the contact information of the other teams. Not only can you learn a lot from the volunteers, but you can also learn a lot about strategy, a lot about, team organizations from other teams and coaches. And from my experience, being a competitor, pretty much all the teams we talk to, even though, in this competition we're competitors, everyone's very happy to share what they learn. And, once you grow up, you're going to be working in the same field. And so it's a, great opportunity for you to meet other people. Right. I'll turn it over to Rob for the last few words.
Leave.
We have some prizes from Raytheon for you as well. I think they're wireless earbuds. Yeah, so if you come to the bottom of the page, we'll give them to you.
And we're done.